you've already seen multiple of my videos, most of which have been Wait, have every single one of my videos been for school? I've never made a video from my own creative drive? Well, that's kind of depressing. But also not changing today. I'm still doing a video for school. However, this is going to be a bit different. See, about 2 months ago, I was introduced to a new project for science class. A giant physics project that seemed like it would be really challenging. We got to choose from multiple different types of projects, and ultimately, I settled on a Rube Goldberg machine. If you've been living under a rock your whole life and never watched a video of one, they're basically complex chain reaction machines with many different steps meant to solve one simple task. I chose this because it offered the most opportunities for variation and had the lowest skill floor in the art of making stuff out of physical objects, which I am pretty terrible at. My first design started out on a Thursday in science class. I had been procrastinating on this for about a week and a half, and the design, along with some brief explanatory papers, was due on Wednesday. Since I'm not great at the art of making stuff out of physical objects, I knew I was going to need some help making the machine from my dad. So I needed to, at the very least, get my concept design done during the weekend, so I could ask my dad if anything I was coming up with was realistic. I started by completely disregarding the research directions and creating this monstrosity. What do you expect? I only had 10 minutes. So, after a forensics meet on Saturday, I cleaned up my room and asked my dad if he had any ideas for what the string could do after being pulled down by some dominoes. Upon reading the directions more carefully, he explained that by the 6 simple machines, not some 6 simple machines, my packet was referring to a specific group of 6 simple machines known for being the fundamental basis of most basic technology, and I had to include all 6 of them in my design. With that, I holed up in my room a bit longer, and after numerous ideas and questions, I came out with this. I then added some more details and basic measurements with my dad to create my final concept sketch. With this in tow, I was ready to make another version that was drawn somewhat close to scale. One Monday homeroom with nothing else to do later, and I had done it. I'd created a decently good design, which was kind of surprising, and now it was time to start building. But before we do that, let's talk about how this sketch said my design was supposed to work. Originally, there was this pulley. I was going to pull the pulley, the pool ball would go up, the wooden spatula would hit the Jenga blocks would hit the Hot Wheels car would roll down, hit the wedge, which would drive the 2 Jenga blocks apart, hitting the light ball would go in this tube wrapped around a paper towel roll, and hit the Jenga tower. The first step was to create the wood frame that all the pieces would rest on. For this, my dad went out and bought some wood, and during the afternoon, we took a saw and cut them into proper lengths. After that, we went downstairs and assembled them into their basic frame using wood glue and nails. That Saturday, I only had one more weekend to turn in my video for the first checkpoint, so I got my dad and spent a few hours putting a lot of it together. By the end, we'd made a few changes to the design, but it was still pretty faithful to the original sketch. I proceeded to send in some evidence, along with a video of us testing the machine. We didn't set the Jenga blocks close enough. Oh! On a Google form. And rest easy, knowing that everything was going smoothly. Except, it didn't end up going perfectly smoothly. See, we'd been doing some renovations to our house for some time, and we were supposed to be done pretty soon. We'd go to Florida for a few days during spring vacation, and by the time we'd got back, all the intensive work would be done. However, something happened the days leading up to break. A novel virus originating in China that had become major news in the past few weeks started showing up more and more in the United States. By the time spring break rolled around, it was clear that COVID-19 was canceling our vacation. So we made some arrangements to stay at my grandparents' house for a few days during the intensive construction. But since the construction workers had to social distance, a few days turned into a week, then 2 weeks. And by the time I knew it, I was arriving at home with 2 days to finish the project. I was unable to actually buy the stuff I needed to finish it, and some debris had fallen onto the project and crippled it. Luckily, my teacher gave us the option to make a drawing of what our machine would have looked like instead of finishing it if we weren't able to get to the parts we needed. I started by taking my original sketch and crossing out all the different parts I'd changed. Then, I had to create a new and improved version with a couple more features, which ended up looking like this. I colored in the wood and some other parts to make it more interesting and created a more detailed material list, in addition to changing all the things that I crossed out of my original sketch. It still follows the same concept and causal relationship, just with some new parts. The one thing left to do was to make a data table. The only problem was that for Goldberg machines, the only type of data table you can realistically make is one about the time it takes between the start and finish. Unfortunately, since I didn't finish making the project, I have no way of recording the time. However, I can make a recreation of what that table might have looked like. Since I could only measure the time after it functioned correctly, it was only possible to make one version in which I could measure the time. After making sure that the time from me pulling the string to the Jenga tower falling down consistently stayed over 5 seconds, the required length of time, the project would have been done. Overall, while my machine ended up, not existing, I still feel that this entire project was really rewarding, and making a video about it only cements that feeling. I'm really proud of myself for all the work that went into this. Wait a minute. This wood is the wrong color. Ah! Wait, this is still here. I win.